Director of Esports Content for NA. And we have Matt Archambault. Matt, I can never say your last name.
Matt Archambault.
We have
Just
Matt.
Arch. Just
Yes,
Matt
Matty
Arch.
Arch.
That's
Matt
why
Arch.
we call you Arch. And we have Arch here, the head of esports partnerships for NA and OSH, his shorter title. Welcome, gentlemen, and thank you for joining us. And welcome, press. We're happy to have you join us as well. So let's go over quick ground rules for today. We're going to start with a media presentation and Q&A by Chris, Dave, and Matt. We've taken your pre-submitted questions about the current day LCS, and we'll answer those first. And then afterwards, we'll open it up to live questions about the new information that we're sharing today about all the LCS broadcast and publishing. All that info is on the record. We ask that you not share anything publicly about what's discussed until tomorrow, Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific. After the media presentation, we'll have an off-the-record chat with Christine Steimer, the LCS PR lead, to go over our new process for post-game media. And then we'll have some happy hour with the story mob, which is what we do best next to PR. If there aren't any questions to get started, I will kick it over to Greeley to get us going.
Hey everybody, thank you for joining us for Media Day. As you heard in the intro and can see in the little name underneath my box, my name is Chris Greeley. Today we'd like to take a step back and reflect on the enhancements that we've made over the past year, the successes that we've had, and then we're going to preview the many new activities and partnerships we have in store for Summer Split. Finally, we will take questions from all of you at the end, as we've heard. And this is our panel today, as we've been announced. So let's jump right in. So the LCS is unique among sports leagues in that we were born from fan demand. So we evolved from a series of community-led tournaments, as you all know, into the first publisher-backed esports league in the US and Canada. I promise I'm not just reading you this slide. Today, we do continue at the LCS our ongoing collaborations with fans, whether they're celebrating or we're celebrating with fans in chat, or we're taking feedback on Reddit or Twitter. The cliche of we're fans too may be pretty well worn at this point on the Riot side, but we live the high points and the low points together with the community, and truly I hope that the passion that we all have for the LCS manages to shine through. We are one LCS made by many. So that is a tagline meant to embody all the people who have been responsible for the LCS over the years. The LCS exists as it does today, thanks to, in large part, to our fans. Their passion and drive to build up our sport has elevated the entire games industry in North America. So as many of you are aware, we rebranded at the beginning of 2021. We kicked off that project during the 2019 off-season in order to establish a new foundation for the LCS that the entire team here at Riot could rally around, and then ultimately our pro players, our teams, and our fans as well. The core focus that we had was to rebuild an identity that reached across all facets of the LCS product, from shoulder content to broadcast production to how we talk with the community. We wanted the rebrand to further establish ourselves as the future of sports, as opposed to trying to mimic conventional sports as we had for many of our first 7 years. For us, it needed to be true to our past, but also and especially had to be reflective of where we wanted to go in the future. But COVID presented a big challenge throughout that process. So from our perspective, right, we're building assets and workflows that support the online version of the league instead of the in-person version of it. More importantly, for our team, we lost access to all of our broadcast toys as well. In addition, all the additional lead time that was required for production meant we couldn't easily film new content. While it wasn't planned this way, the rebrand came at the perfect turning point time for the league. With the retirement of stars like Bjergsen and Doublelift and Sneaky over the last 2 seasons, the rebrand serves as a launching off point to help build up our new heroes and all the new stars in the league that'll help us prepare for the next 10 years. And new faces have emerged, and rising stars rose even higher. So Cloud9's Fudge, Dignitas's Triumvirate of Fake God, Neo, and Soligo, C9's Blabber, our split MVP, FlyQuest with Jose Dioto, TSM Spica, and major stars like Perks and Alfari have helped to fill the void. Along with a new look and new pros, we also brought in new talent to the LCS broadcast desk this year as well. We introduced Raz and Emily Rand, Alorum, Primal High, and Spawn to the desk. All right, now we can jump. Perfect. So this season, we started off 2021 a little bit differently. We introduced a new 3-week tournament called the LCS Lock-In before the spring matches began. The idea was to give each team, especially after this season's dramatic reshuffling, we wanted to give each team some time to find their sea legs and to set up storylines for the new season. The lock-in tournament also had a $150,000 winner-takes-all grand prize. So while the winner doesn't take home an LCS championship title, it was still a prize worth coming to bat for. What we got from that tournament was an amazingly hype moment to kick off the season, a Team Liquid 5-game 3-2 win over Cloud9. So we started our season kickoff with Silver Scrapes, and ultimately a really great experience for fans and for pro teams. The lock-in received such positive feedback internally and from the community at large that you should expect to see it return in 2022. We also reshuffled the spring split format. So with the advent of the lock-in tournament, we shortened the spring split down to 6 weeks. We went with 5 games, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and built out an experience where our pro teams, our pro players, got to play just as many games as they did in prior spring splits, but on a condensed schedule. In addition, we keep the performance in spring. We flop it over into summer so that it's a continued split, and that helps keep the performance in spring relevant in the ultimate conversation around the World Championship. Finally, in spring, we also doubled down to continue to build out our co-streaming ecosystem, which I'll talk a little bit more about in just a minute. So spring split wraps up, brings us right into the mid-season showdown, which replaced spring playoffs. Top 6 teams from spring split hopped into the MSS, with the winner awarded a spot at MSI. Spoiler alert, it was Cloud9 after a 3-2 win over Team Liquid, kind of reversing our lock-in tournament. For us, it was a fantastic event at the Greek Theater in LA. Pentakill headlined and opened up the show for us, and the atmosphere was unlike anything we've ever done. Now, part of that is that we threw a road show with no fans, obviously something that we have never done, but it was our first step back to being normal. We also debuted a new look on the LCS Analyst Studio, complete with more than 4,000 square feet of display technology and a design that is built to flex between remote and in real life broadcasting. And it was a great opportunity for us after more than a year outside of this studio for the MSS finals to get our casting talent back together as well. So that's a look at where we've been. Let's talk about where we're going. Summer split. So triple round robin over 9 weeks of play. So every team is going to get to play an additional 9 competitive games. Like I said, we're carrying over the record from spring into summer. And then just like last year, we'll take the 8 teams into the playoffs, seeded by record. The winner will be crowned the LCS champion. They'll earn the #1 seed for NA at Worlds, and the 2nd and 3rd place teams will be traveling to Worlds as well. So that's our pro scene. But we also took 2021 to make a lot of changes. Actually had to look down at the corner to check the year because COVID has messed up my temporal knowledge that badly. Coming into 2021, we also revamped our amateur, academy, and scholastic ecosystem. So kind of starting with Scholastic, we moved college and high school league under the LCS umbrella so that we can have a more hands-on role in supporting the entire competitive pipeline. Above that, we debuted the Proving Ground Circuit, a revamped competitive structure for academy and amateur that showcased the best of North America's growing talent pool. Overall, it was really important to us to open up the ecosystem beyond the existing structures that we had, which meant more opportunities for not just players looking to go pro, but also for aspiring coaches, general managers, casters, and others in the community. These changes are essential to the long-term sustainability of the league because they support development at the individual level, as well as help make league an inclusive and multi-generational sport. So with all that, let's see how we performed. From a viewership perspective, the league held strong with a 30% increase in hours watched year over year for all of spring. And that includes all platforms and our co-streaming channels, or I guess now our watch party channels. Friday's average minute audience increased 70% since the launch of Friday broadcasts last summer as well. The midseason showdown final saw a peak of 416,000 concurrent users across Twitch and YouTube, which again does include our watch party friends, which is an increase of almost 10% year over year, and an AMA of 281,000. All in all, the LCS remains the third most popular professional sports league in the United States among 18 to 34-year-olds based on live average minute audience. So I keep referencing the watch party program. We are excited as we're going forward to introduce more fans to the LCS and League of Legends esports through the LCS Watch Party program, which takes popular streamers and content creators and brings them together with our competitive content. Our inaugural Watch Party lineup, LS, Doublelift, Sneaky, Meteos, I Will Dominate, and Yasuo, and FlyQuest will continue their Spanish language stream. FlyQuest presents LCS and Vivo. So a lot to look forward to there. But while we're talking about broadcast, let's talk about ProView because it's back. We are excited to reintroduce the popular ProView tool for Summer Split 2021. We spent the entire COVID downtime rebuilding the platform from the ground up, and we'll be offering free and premium versions of the product going forward. So let's talk about that comparison. Let's go one more slide. Awesome. Free version. Every game will have a hand-picked selection of 2 pro player POV streams, with all POV streams available for premium subscribers. There is an autocomplete search that you can use to discover content by searching for teams or players or even a champion if you want to see it played. We have a revamped multi-view player with POV previews. There'll be enhanced highlights on the timeline with instant replays of the key moments and an updated real-time statistics with hints for beginners. The premium version comes with everything that the free version does for $6.99 a month, but you get access to all 10 pro player POV streams. You get the game's map stream, which will show a high level of the map and movement around it. And you'll get exclusive content like VODs with team comms, player portraits, and weekly top plays. The new version of ProView has been in development for the better part of the year, and the development team is committed to keep adding new features to make ProView the preferred way to watch your favorite team, players, and champions fight their way to eternal glory on the Rift. Just an amazing goal for all of us. All right, so that is what we have in store, at least on the league management side. But before I turn it over to Dave, let's take a quick look at the summer hype video, which we dropped this morning. Oh no, no audio. All right, some technical difficulties on our side. Hang in with us. We're working on it. You can enjoy the visuals though. I can sing it for everybody if that makes it better. Probably not though.
Please don't, Chris.
No, I won't. Well, if any of you have missed it, we will make sure to get you a YouTube link so that you can watch it on your own computer and with your own audio. But the visuals were great. So the technical difficulties notwithstanding, I'm going to hand this over to Dave Stewart, the executive producer and director of content for NA, who will talk a little bit about the Summer Split broadcast details.
Thanks, Chris. And thanks everybody for being with us. It's always awesome to come right after technical difficulties because it's a perfect bar. It sets a good bar for me. Want to talk a little bit about what we had in the spring and what we were looking at. The broadcast goal and our content around it was really about reflecting and carrying our rebrand. The rebrand was something that we spent a lot of time on, various groups and teams, And it was something we were really excited about and really proud of. And we thought that the broadcast is really the place where we were going to see that. And we really tried to leverage that in Made by Many. I strongly feel that we have the best on-air and casting team in esports. And we really index strongly with that, and even added to it with such great contributions from Emily and Primal, and Raz eventually being able to join us after he got out of visa jail. And we were really excited about the many faces, but it was also about the co-streamers and getting them into the broadcast, and really being a place where the voices could come together and celebrate this thing that we love so much, that's LCS. New format, explaining formats, and kind of just really reflecting the brand was the big thing. Our goal at large is to create moments, conversations, and an inclusive space for fans to gather, participate, and celebrate the worth and value of North America's biggest esport. And we want to we have a lot of things at our disposal, but the passion of our team and our fan base is something that is really special. And we really want to commit to that with production value and professional excellence in our broadcast. We want to do personality-based storytelling. There's heroes, villains, rising talent, international stars, underdogs, champions, but also the community, the experts, the artists, the cosplayers. We really want to draw from the rich community that make up LCS. And then something we're hoping to leverage even more as we head into summer is the interactivity. Made by Many is something that we believe strongly in, and getting the fans and the viewers and the audience more opportunities to participate is something that we really hope to continue to flex. And that's one of the reasons we're so excited about getting back into studio. I feel like we were able to do remote production really well, and improved from the time when we first went to it in March of 2020, all the way through spring of 2021. And a lot of improvements were made along the way, but there's really no substitute for the cohesion you're going to feel from an on-air team and from a team putting a show together when they're together and when they're able to reach out and touch each other and feed off each other's energy. We saw that even at the Greek at MSS, and it's something we're super excited about as we progress into summer. So on-air talent and players are back. The players is something that is so significant. We went through essentially, almost a season and a half without having, the footage that makes our sport what it is. We had player cams, but really getting the players back in, getting that intensity of the action and the competition is something we're really excited about. But we're also excited about having our casters and analysts back in. One of the things that we, in reflecting on Spring Split, that we really wanted to push was that we thought we had a lot of great content, a lot of great segments, but a lot of times they weren't being watched based on scheduling, what time the games were. Our half an hour countdown show happening, towards the end of LEC games, where we had very minimal exposure to segments that a lot of times were really good storytelling. So what we've decided to do is take the focus and the energy out of countdown and really put that into segments that are in between games, before games, after games, champ select, really leveraging our storytelling in areas that are going to get more exposure. And that's something we're really excited about. Because of that, we're putting something else in the place of where countdown was. And you'll see that as we go forward. We're going to be a little bit experimental with it, but Lane by Lane is returning on Fridays. We're super excited about this because not only are we giving Raz the opportunity to host, which I think is going to be awesome because he brings such great energy to everything he does, and kind of letting him be in charge is going to be a lot of fun. But we're also involving fans. There is going to be Twitch chat integrations where where fans are the ones that are going to award winners around the different conversations and the different argument points. And so lane by lane will be on Fridays in the half an hour preceding games. We're super excited about it, and it's going to look very different. It's going to be way more interactive, and that's something I'm really excited about. On Saturdays, and then, sorry, we'll go with these are out of order. That's replay files. Here we go. Let's go to replay files. This is going to be Saturdays. We've committed to the first 3 weeks of summer split to try what we're calling replay files. And essentially, this is long form doc series about a moment in time. Pastry Time is hosting. I was able to preview the first episode that is going to air Saturday, just this morning. And it took a moment in time. Little spoiler, but I don't think it's gonna crush it. But like the first episode involves a 2017 World Series in China between Misfits and SKT, and there are 4 players from that series who are now in the LCS. It involved Power of Evil and Ignar and Huni and Alfari, and it's an amazing look back at that series and what it meant for these players. And now, you know, they're in the LCS practicing their trade. But this is done by our same features team who's done Eyes On and Drive and Duos, and they're really good at storytelling. I'm super excited about seeing where they go with this. And we're just gonna like let the arc develop and just present like an intro into the day in LCS with some strong docu-style features storytelling. And then Sundays, we were really excited in the beginning of it's actually 2020, but it seems like 2019. It was so long ago. But we did a roundtable where it was Double Lift and Aframu and Meteos and Golden Glue that Dash hosted, and turned it into a 20-minute just a conversation. And we're going to be doing this on a weekly basis on Sundays. We're calling it Next Level. We're super excited for Meteos to host it. Meteos is someone we've always enjoyed working with and having on the broadcast. And we think he has a lot of stretch capabilities where he's not really at his ceiling yet about what he can be in a conversation style, roundtable. And we're going to be including co-streamers and players and community figures and talking in real ways about things going on in the community that isn't just kind of like recap, like who's in first place, who's in second place, but really the issues that so many of us care about. And I feel like this is going to be a great vehicle for us to talk about a lot of things in the community that fans want us to be talking about in a little bit deeper level. You can see on this picture, which was from the pilot, it's Meteos, Wild Turtle, Jat, Emily, and Yasuo are the guests on the first one. We're really excited about this. And what this is allowing us to do is allow the live broadcast team to focus on, hey, don't worry about a half an hour pregame show anymore. Worry about what's happening between the games, especially in the remote world, but just in general. I believe that our segments were getting a little bit stale. It was always a host +3, it was 1+3, and it was recap of what you just saw. And I think there are some games that deserve that treatment where if it's a incredibly exciting game, we want to do a recap and we want to talk about what happened and why and where things went wrong for a team or where things went well for a team. But we do think that we can do a lot of deeper storytelling in game intros and telestrator segments and really unlock our various analysts to do what they do well. They have a lot of distinct qualities, and we really want to leverage what they do well to unlock them to really tell the great stories going on in the LCS. The broadcast schedule, it is a little bit varied, and we spent a lot of time with the team talking about this. Chris kind of like submitted a proposal and we looked at it. But we really feel like in years past, we've indexed on let's have it all at the same time. And we thought what we get from the consistency is not as good as like scheduling in a way that's gonna like make it more accessible to more LCS fans. Fridays we're gonna be on at 3 p.m. Pacific, and that opens up for like coming after LEC is done. Saturday we're starting at 2 p.m. We saw a lot of our first games really suffer as like LEC would either have delays or just have long games, but extend into LCS's time, where they would place their fifth and best game at the end of the day, and we'd have a pretty good matchup, and it just, we didn't have the audience because it was going concurrently with the G2 Fnatic game, and so we're moving it back an hour, and we're starting at 2 p.m. on Saturdays. And on Sundays, we're going to start games at 1 p.m. We have a little bit cleaner runway there. All of these will begin a half an hour earlier with the content I described earlier. But I think that this really is what's going to make LCS accessible to the most fans. So we're excited about this broadcast schedule. Other content that we're doing, and we have some things in the works, but we are starting a TikTok channel, our own short form video TikTok channel, which will allow us to experiment. We want to get some of the personalities that we have in there and able to like communicate with fans in other ways. We've seen some good opportunities where other media outlets are using this in a way to kind of as an acquisition tool and for exposure to various products, and we're excited about launching that tomorrow. I think that is it for broadcast and content updates, and I'm going to hand it over to Arch to talk to us about some of the exciting business developments for the LCS.
Thanks, Dave. And hi, everybody. Thank you for being here. I know it's been said by everyone, but thank you again. And yes, I am Matt, extremely long name. So I guess it'll just be Matt Arch for right now. It'll be making things a little bit easier. So I lead our esports partnerships for NA and Oceania. And I want to just take a few minutes here to just dive into our partner ecosystem over the past years, talk about some of the latest partners who have joined our family this summer. But before I do that, what I really want to do is hit upon some of those partners that we've had that have been able to build and grow and extend with us over the last couple of years. We're extremely proud to have what we expect and actually really believe are the best in class from the product categories that they are partners. They've all fully just jumped into what they're doing with us, working with the community, working with our broadcast teams and all of our players. And we're really excited about a lot of the things that we've done and what will, of course, be upcoming. I think in particular, some of those relationships we've had, with Honda, MasterCard, Red Bull, Secret Lab, State Farm, and Verizon have all been really exceptional over these past years. And in particular, last year, the fact that these partners not only just continued to stay with us during what was obviously a very trying time, but in many ways double down in terms of how they were, again, activating with us and for us. I think one of the things just to talk about that Dave hit on here not too long ago, we just had a massive refresh to our studio. So the State Farm analyst desk is no longer just the analyst desk of old. It has now been transformed into a much larger, much more robust opportunity, which I think is going to create a lot more really transferable moments here from both remote and in-person broadcasts. Another example, something we did this past spring split, we actually had a collaboration with Twitter and Honda to offer watch parties and also open up the Honda MVP voting during the midseason showdown. So we're going to actually continue that throughout the LCS summer split and into the LCS championships this summer. So again, really proud of our partners that have been here with us and excited to do a lot more with them in the years to come. So next slide. Oh, awesome. So jumping into 2021, we're really excited that we've been able to announce a number of new partners here. For example, we were able to bring on Grubhub and Rocket, and also, and actually a really exciting twist, and actually what I also believe is a first for an esports league, we signed Jackson Guitars, which is part of the Fender family. So we're really, really excited to be able to do that, and I'll dive into a few of these in a little bit more detail. Also, backed by popular demand, we did revamp the LCS Fantasy experience, and that is powered by Sleeper. We had an amazing beginning to the spring split, and we're really excited to continue to amplify that and grow it going into summer. We also have a mobile fan experience powered by Green Park Sports, which is going to be kicking off here, in the coming weeks, which again should create another way for continued fan engagement, for all parties that are around, and to allow fans and allow everyone to really just have different touch points with the LCS and our broadcasts. We also had and kicked off the First Blood Saves campaign with Blood Centers of America, or BCA. This is actually a continuation of some previous activations that we've done with this nonprofit. And what's really amazing is that the activation we did during the spring split was the equivalent of over 40 mobile blood drives in exposure for them. Needless to say, it was a tremendous opportunity, a tremendous campaign, and it also just shows how excited our fans can be when there's the right opportunity. And then we finally rolled out here, answered the door with Grubhub as our official food delivery partner and also presenting partner of the Midseason Showdown and the LCS Championships. And for those here, Grubhub actually graciously supplied codes to everyone, so you should be getting some nice codes for some free food towards the happy hour portion of this call. So for all those that are here, say thank you to Grubhub through one way or another. Oh, next slide. Oh. Yep, so moving on a little bit, sorry, the order just switched here a quick second. One of the things that we're really excited to announce here is actually our first ever partnership with a music label, and that is BMG. And so if and when the YouTube link is sent out later, you would have actually heard the first track that is part of that, which is K-Flay's TGIF featuring Tom Morello, and that is going to be part of BMG's roster, and also the first BMG artist who's going to be starting with summer split kickoff. We're really, really excited about this relationship. It took a lot of collaboration, not only from the BMG team, the Riot Music team, and all of the LCS team to pull together. So really, really excited that we brought that off. I think there's going to be a ton of opportunities here for us to be able to feature BMG artists in our broadcasts, introduce special performances, and also custom content. All of this is the goal of creating additional through lines between music, games, and sports entertainment. And as many know, there is a lot of collaboration, a lot of interest with Riot and music, notably what we've done at Worlds and a lot of our global events. So we're really excited about this. And then if anyone's interested in actually checking out the BMG and LCS playlist, let the Story Mob know. They will be able to share with you a link, which actually I think Greeley maybe, oh, nope, that was a link to the video, sorry. But there is also a playlist link that they can send over so you can see the artists that'll be part of our summer split rollout. But we're really excited about where this is gonna go. And then really kind of bringing this back, to our overall partners, we're extremely proud that we are at this point in time able to count 15 partners in the LCS family. It's been really amazing that we've been able to build this up over time. Looking back a couple years, we had a few early partners, and that roster list continues to grow. I think it's just a testament to not only the professionalism, but also the excitement and the growth of the league as it continues to mature and really evolve over time. And I also wanted to jump into two of the additional partners that we actually just rolled out this past week. One of those partners is actually League Day, which League Day is the first audio platform that is dedicated to esports and videos, and gaming in general. Videos doesn't make any sense, of course. We're actually excited to bring them on as our first official audiocast partner of the LCS. And that's actually going to kick off this coming week on June 4th. The thing that's really interesting about this and what we resonated on is it's not just taking a non-video representation of our cast, right, from our current casters. It's actually an entirely new, purely developed and executed audio cast that is just for those who don't have any visual correspondence. So it's something that we think is going to be a really interesting angle for those who happen to be driving, happen to be on the road, happen to have their Bluetooth speakers out or other. I think it's going to be a really nice way to again, enhance the broadcast and create more connectivity with everybody that we have in the community. And then last, but definitely not least, wanted to touch upon eSpat AI, which is a partnership that we launched last week. So a little bit of background on that. eSpat is the only digital media licensing platform that is dedicated to gaming and esports. eSpat is going to work with the LCS to sell licenses for LCS imagery, catering primarily to large-scale media companies, wire services, and commercial customers. The goal of this partnership is to create opportunities for LCS photos to be licensed with major media companies on par or similar to traditional sports, and also use eSpat's technology to explore potential applications of AI and/or image recognition. What excited us about this partnership is specifically their knowledge of esports. They're currently partners with several LCS teams and other esports leagues, and especially the flexibility of their pricing model to service everyone in the LCS ecosystem. We were able to connect with many of you about what this partnership means for the LCS. We also understand that you still have questions or may feel a little bit uncertain. We are going to address those in the Q&A coming up shortly. After that Q&A, if you have additional questions about the eSpat partnership, our transition to their platform, feel free to reach out to StoryMob and they will be able to provide you additional information.
Great,
and with
thanks.
that, yeah, go ahead.
I stepped all over your transition. Man,
no, it's all good. It's all good.
I'm just destroying things today. All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen. So we have some pre-submitted questions that we're going to go through first, and then we will take a few live questions as we are running a bit over, but we will start with Interim Commissioner Greeley from Travis Gafford at Travis Gafford Industries. He asks, is Riot considering changes for the import rule for 2022?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Gafford. I think the kind of high-level TLDR, Riot will not be removing the import rule. We have certainly noticed a lot of passionate discussion surrounding the global League of Legends esports import rule that has taken place over the last few months that many of you have covered as well. We haven't commented, at least from an LCS perspective, because the import rule is a global system, which requires global input, not just input from the LCS. In addition, we spent a lot of time, and this is probably why at the media day with LCS teams in spring, you got some varied answers, but we spend a lot of time talking about potential changes to the future of the ecosystem, generally primarily the LCS with LCS team owners, and we tend to do that behind closed doors. So there's always an effort on our side to not have these conversations play out in public. So I think that would be some explanation on why we haven't spoken on it till now, but it is a good time for us to just reinforce that, it is it's a global rule. It is a complex, the rule holds up a complex system. And, ultimately the LCS isn't advocating for the repeal of the import rule. The LCS teams are not advocating for a repeal of the import rule. And ultimately the import rule will not be repealed. I don't think I've ever used the word repeal so many times in one paragraph of thought, but there you go.
All right, we're going to get through these pre-written cues and then we will have a little bit of time for follow-up. Next, let's start with Eduardo Ceja. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your names, from Centinela. How will the new partnership with eSpat benefit the LCS? Arch, I know you kind of went into that earlier, but maybe give another TLDR of it.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely appreciate the question. I think, look, we understand that there's a lot of elements of this partnership that may have come as a bit of a surprise, and I think there's been obviously a lot of feedback and a lot of interest in the community around this. So what I do want to make sure that I can set the table on here is that the goal of this is really to just level us up as a league and create opportunities for licensing with editorial and commercial customers. It's not meant to be exclusive. It's not meant to prohibit or to derail anybody as you continue to grow and evolve. It is really meant to create opportunities to further enhance just the league's DNA, position us into places where we may not have been before from massive traditional media, and also just create additional opportunities kind of across the board. I mean, look, at the end of the day, we know there are a couple players in the space, but eSpat has some competitors that we're well aware of. Our global team has a relationship with one of them. At the end of we really defined and decided to move forward with eSpat because of their approach, because of their flexibility, because of their way that they were looking at the flexibility that they do have with multiple options from a pricing standpoint, as well as being able to work with us and the community in more direct context. It's not a system that's been around for 60 years and just follows a plug and play. It is something will actually allow us to work with all of you, I think, in a much more leveled up experience. So I think really as we start to look at it here, this is going to be a scenario where we want to make sure everything is sustainable. There is going to be a flexible pricing model. We are working collectively with eSpat to define that. This is not going to be that every photo is $10,000. It's going to be a situation where we are going to make things open and accessible. So for us, it helps further consolidate what we have and where we have it, gives us a larger home that will give the LCS a place where we believe it needs to be, and then should create more opportunities across the board.
Thank you. Sorry, my cat is right in front of the microphone. So the next question, I know, Matt, you kind of covered it with the reasoning behind the partnership with eSpat. I think it's probably best to address also Dustin and Shay Robson's question. What is the LCS doing to ensure that smaller content creators and outlets can continue their work as far as eSpat goes?
Yeah, for sure. So I think one thing, and I will also just get to this, the LCS Flickr page is not disappearing overnight. No one is going to try to go to that property on June 4th and find it completely devolved. We are working on a transition phase out approach, but it is not something that is going to be going to just disappear. I think beyond that, there is going to be a weekly, kind of list of, say, selects or something along those lines that we are going to be able to allow everybody to have access to. In addition to that, there is a grant list system for all current LCS Press Room members, which will allow for 100% free photos on their platform between now and the end of lock-in 2022. This has been created to allow for everyone to continue to operate as standard practice, get used to a little bit of the new system, and understand kind of where we are. This is not something that's going to just immediately stop overnight.
Thank you. And then you get the next one. Are there any plans to incorporate Wild Rift into LCS activities, promotions, sponsor integrations? And this comes from Trent Murray at the Esports Observer.
Absolutely. So starting on Friday, just kidding. All LCS matches will be played on Wild Rift. No, we look. There's nothing that we can share specifically at the moment. As the Wild Rift community does grow over time, we'll obviously see where there's natural fits. I think now that Riot has actually put the S in Riot Games, anytime there is an opportunity for us to integrate titles into a place where it actually makes sense, we will look to do that. We have the megaphones that are our broadcast that can help that. But I think, other than that, all of this is just me saying, very tangentially, that there are no defined plans that I can share with you right now. But of course, we will continue to look for the right moments.
Okay, and taking the spotlight off of you, and we'll go over to Greeley. From Joseph of One Esports, what kind of benefits do you see coming out of teams carrying over their records from spring?
I'm going to cheat for half a second and give Travis a response to his follow-up because I don't think maybe I didn't answer the letter of his question. If there are changes at any point now or in the future to the import rule, those would come from the global team. So I don't really have anything to add for you here. Apologies for that. And then on to the question on carrying over records from spring. Thank you for the question. I think for some teams, the benefit is that a strong performance in spring carries over. If you finish second or third, you still get some benefit from that. For other teams, the large number of games and the fact that the records carry over provided an opportunity for them to test out different rosters, different strategies, because there was more opportunities for them to take a loss somewhere and not have it feel overly penalized for it. For fans, I think they get a great narrative across the split. I think for fans who worry about spring split not mattering, this is a better outcome overall. Like it's much better than championship points, which I think can be hard to follow for fans. They like not really clear where to find them, how to do the math. Spring and summer always had different values. This is pretty easy, right? You look at the standings, you count up wins and losses, and you can figure out how teams are angling for the LCS championship playoffs, or the summer finals, summer championship. You know what I'm saying? Playoffs in summer. It also doesn't overvalue spring since teams will play 27 games in the summer in comparison to 18 in spring. So it does provide a little more weight in the summer as well.
Thank you. We'll stay with you, Greeley. From Jay Silver at Stropesy, with NA's recent performance at MSI and criticism of imports in the region, what will the LCS do to ensure the best competition while maintaining the strength of NA talent?
Yeah, thanks for that. I think first, before like we criticize Cloud9 too much for MSI, like let's remember that they took games off of everybody. Right? They beat Damwon, they beat RNG. They had some unfortunate losses to teams that I think they should have beaten. We think they should have beaten. But ultimately, you know, I was proud of the performance that they put in. I thought they showed that they could literally hang with any team on stage. And I'm really, really excited to see what NA teams do at Worlds this year. But as we look towards maintaining NA talent and continuing to develop local talent, the revamped Proving Ground circuit is for me a huge step in the right direction. You know, pipelines and talent development systems take time to build out. I think we spent a lot of time over the past, I think, year at this point, redeveloping that system to make sure that aspiring pros see the path to get to become a pro player, that folks at the amateur level are getting more games, more reps, more opportunities to work with coaches and to work in organized environments. And I think we'll continue to see the strength of the Proving Ground circuit kind of move all the way down through the ecosystem and help to continue to develop talent in NA. In addition, we're remain in active conversations with teams about how we can be a better partner to them. And that includes with providing them with resources that can help them succeed at all levels of League of Legends esports. So when I say teams, I'm not just talking about your LCS franchises. I'm talking about the amateur teams that are out there, collegiate teams, high school teams. We want to continue to provide as much support as we can and continue to structure the ecosystem in a way that really competitive players, really aspirational players can get the best competition and continue to level themselves up.
Thank you. And our last written question from Christian at Win. With the introduction of the LCS Watch Party program, is it expected that the viewership will grow through these selected streams? And how will Riot support these content creators at doing so?
I can take that. Thanks for the question, Christian. I think growing viewership is a goal of ours, but I don't think that it's the primary goal of the Watch Party program. I think it's a secondary awesome effect. You know, if that happens. So it's definitely a consideration, but not the primary. The primary is fan service. It's an amazing time to be an esports fan. And I think it's an amazing time to be an LCS fan. And that you have a choice that should you really be a huge fan of LS and you want to listen to LS while you watch LCS, you've got it. And if you want to listen to Doublelift while you watch LCS, you've got it. And I think you know, there are those that are always going to prefer to listen to Captain Flowers and Azale or Kobe. And so options are in service of fans. And I think that when we look at Made by Many, there are a lot of voices that make up the stories that go along with LCS. As far as like how will Riot support these content creators, I think that you already see it. If I watch a typical stream of one of our watch party participants, they're getting 4 or 5x when they're co-streaming or doing a watch party with LCS. And so like that is how they monetize it. So it's not that, you know, they're working for free and we need to make sure that we, you know, they can thrive. Like they're doing really well being able to participate in this program. And so I think that, you know, there's a big incentive to get those numbers and to, you know, do a watch party with LCS.
Great. So we have about 8 minutes open to take questions. So please use the raise your hand function, as a lot of you have already learned how to do. So we will start with Matt from Stacked. Go right ahead.
Hey, good evening or afternoon, y'all. I suppose it depends on where you are. My question relates to your partnership, the LCS partnership with BMG. I was wondering if you could go a bit more in depth in what the LCS is available to use from BMG. Like, do you have the whole catalog available, all the artists' music available, and also how the LCS is planning to help creators who are creating content around LCS and that use like LCS footage, helping to deal with DMCA and anything that might arise from the partnership with BMG's music?
Yeah, I can jump in on that. It's a great question, Matt. So the relationship that we started to build with them, it's not just a carte blanche entire catalog. We have been looking through a select list, and a lot of that is also procurement from our team to ensure that the artists are actually aligned with our fans, our community, and who we think will, you know, be the best fit. You know, obviously rolling out you know, for lack of a better term, classical music might not be the way to go. So we're obviously trying to rein that in. Where you will see this manifest most often is going to be through the broadcast, where we're going to be able to add additional songs. We're going to be able to put some music videos and clips into that. So it's going to really help level up the overarching just experience that we do have with that, beyond just the playlists we've had in the past. It also is going to be able to unlock things for content, right? So when we are creating stuff like our summer split opening teas, when we're doing things around our opening ceremonies or lead-ins for our finals events, opening day and in other places when we're getting fans back, that's where we're going to be able to use the power of BMG as well as the power of our team. And it was a very collaborative effort with Riot Music, such that we could really look at that together. I think beyond that, we've ensured that in terms of rights and clearances, anything that happens to be, so any of our watch party partners, you know, there aren't going to be DMCAs that should go through. Our rights will extend through that. I think, you know, obviously it gets a little more convoluted beyond the extent of what we currently have, but we try to look out to ensure that there will be no stoppage, and it will really just be able to enhance a lot of the stuff we're doing, particularly when it comes to accessing some of these songs. We will still have other stuff in our library. You know, we're not going to necessarily lose music that you're seeing, but this is going to be able to provide additional opportunity and additional playlists.
Thank you, Matt. Let's go to Mr. Travis Gafford.
Hello. Congratulations on the launch of the new shows. I thought that Replay File was aptly named, given that there's a big discussion around Replay Files taking place in the community right now that Mithy kind of sparked. And I saw the coach for TSM also jumped in on and said that he would like to see those Replay Files public. So I understand that NA cannot comment on global availability of Replay Files, but would LCS be interested in making their Replay Files available for the public, community content creators, and the teams across the board anytime soon?
So the way we've generally approached Replay Files in North America, and I know comms definitely works like this. Comms only goes to the actual team. So you get Cloud9 gets Cloud9 comms, TSM gets TSM comms. My recollection, and I would have to check, so if I'm slightly off here, I apologize. is that the only teams in NA who receive the replay files for their games are the two teams that participated in the game. So in a Cloud9 TSM match, Cloud9 and TSM would be the only two teams who receive the replay file from that. Ultimately, if all of the LCS teams decided that they wanted to turn the replay files over to the entire league or to the community at large, I don't know that we would stop them. I don't think that we at this point have an interest in doing that unilaterally. We have had some objections, despite Mithy and Soren talking about it publicly. We have had some teams. Is it Kelsey? I might be wrong there, but all LCS teams might get the replay files. In a world where the LCS teams were looking to share those publicly, we wouldn't stop them. But in the absence of that, we have had some objections from teams in the past about providing them to other parties, usually third-party leagues. But it's a conversation we are definitely willing to have with the LCS teams.
Dave, did you want to provide some additional clarification on what Chris said?
No, I was just confirming what he was conjecturing in the top, just that I did check, and that is the case, that teams get their own, and it really is like gated by the teams, but we're open to listening to them should they not want that.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to Parks next.
Hey there, this is Parks with Upcomer. I actually had just one additional question on eSpat, and if you answered this, I apologize if I missed it. I actually was picking up my Grubhub food there for a second, so thank you again for that. I have been attending LCS pre-COVID for a couple of years, and I've been taking photographs there myself for my own articles that I write. I'm curious what this partnership with them would look like for people like me who are going to be attending and just have a camera. How does that look?
That's a great question, Parks, and obviously thanks for enjoying Grubhub.
Yeah, thank you.
Our good friends. So thank you. Yeah, I mean, so there's a couple elements there, and obviously we're going to plan to have some additional context coming out with StoryMob in the next week or so, which will hit upon some of the pricing options and whatnot, because I know that those are a lot of questions that are coming up from everyone. The intent is not to have someone like gate check a camera. We're not TSA. I think in terms of some of the access points, they might be a little more limited, but if you're in a press room, no one's going to stop you from doing certain things. But generally speaking, it's not meant to really detract from that. And again, as we mentioned, there would be some selects that will be just open for anyone to take in all places. What we're really just trying to do is create a little bit more of a centrifuge place where everyone knows like where to go to be able to pick things up. So I don't believe there will be that much impact, at least for right now as well. There is going to be a grace period through lockdown of 2022. So there's no concerns for summer split or even getting into the beginning of next year. I know there were a few questions that have been raised just about budgeting and whatnot, again, which will come back to the pricing. This is not meant to prohibit or be exclusionary. We are honestly trying to find a way to just level up the experience. And I think once we get into the swing of things, it'll be a lot less scary and fog of war than it is right now.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, we have time for about 2 questions. Justin from Esports Network.
Hey guys, thank you for everything, especially the Grubhub. Much appreciated. Just a quick question. Can you share if there are plans to bring eSpat into other leagues, like the LEC or even other Riot Games titles, like Valorant?
Yeah, I can jump into that. So this is currently a North American deal. So at the moment, it is focused just on the LCS. We are looking to create a scenario and make sure that we have a proof of concept in terms of how we're going about it. As it's been communicated, our global team does have a relationship with Getty, so those global events are fully under their purview. And I think you also saw them activate at MSI, and there's some stuff that was up and around Masters too, just because those things overlapped. A lot of what we will try to do here is just focus on our region and ensure that we can do what we need to do. I think Riot has always been open to where there's a good partner. We can see where those partners can expand. You've seen that with like Secret Lab and a number of other brands that have come into the space. But there's no definitive or like underlying purpose here. I think what we need to do is really prove out concept, ensure it's going to be successful, and then once that happens, we'll explore what is next.
And last question goes to Tyler from Dot.
Hi everyone. So we've seen a lot of the new LCS studio, which is really great, by the way. But because players are planning to come back for the summer, I was wondering if we're going to see an update to the player stage in terms of its look and its design, or if there are any plans for the future for that.
So we are looking at what it looks like in the future, but the changes for summer will be fairly cosmetic. There will be some changes. The caster position will change. We realize that at least for a period of time there won't be audience, and so we're trying to figure out how best to utilize the space. But most of the changes will be cosmetic around the rebrand, and not structural or a whole new look to the set.
All right, thank you.
All right, I want to thank Chris, Arch, and Dave for joining us today. Appreciate you guys taking the time. Best of luck this season. Next up, you guys can leave, by the way. That also means you. Not that I don't enjoy having you here, but please go away.
Wow. Thank you, everybody.